Well, it's a weird morning. And honestly, the thought of giving up my YouTube channel, of saying, okay, I've said what I needed to say, I've done what I wanted to do, has finally come to an end. And like anything else that's great in life, maybe it's just time to call it a day. And I've been struggling with it for a couple of months now. I don't have a script. I I organize what I want to say. I organize the topic, of course, and I prepare my videos for you, and I enjoy the message. I try to talk about the things that you want to talk about and also the things that I enjoy talking about, because as I've said from the very beginning, 300 videos ago, one for every day of the year, I think by now, what I said was, I want to be a mentor. I find that even more important than being a friend. We have so many young women on this channel now, 24 to 34, who actively comment, who are learning so much from not just what I'm sharing, but what you're sharing in the comments. So even though the niche is very small, and I knew that when I started this channel, I started the channel just to give me an outlet for these topics that I'd spent a couple of years traveling around the country, selling both of my books and speaking to women about leadership, about mean girls, about friendship and the definition of it and how it's changed so much since we were little girls on the playground to what it is today. And what I've come to realize through this channel is that it's every age. We have an epidemic of lack of friendly connections in our lives, in our world, in humanity. I think it's what allows us to be so indifferent toward other people, so flippant about other people's experiences. We just don't have the kind of empathy that maybe we learned from having a close friend, someone who doesn't rely on us, but someone who cares deeply about us, who we care about deeply in return. And what I've learned is that so many relationships have just gotten off the tracks. People have changed, women, and yes, I talk to both men and women on this channel, but as I said to many of our OG men, I haven't walked in their shoes. And so I've always felt it was important to talk about my experiences, or at least my sense of things from the path that I took, which obviously is not the same as yours. But what I hoped I could do on this channel is get people to think. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. YouTube doesn't make it easy, especially for small creators. And am I proud of our over 18,000 subscribers? Absolutely. What I'm even more proud of is the percentage of subscribers that watch the videos. And even better, those that interact, that comment. And you don't just comment, you share your knowledge, your insight, your wisdom. How many times have I said, I'm so glad you're here, to each of your comments, because I wouldn't have thought of how you took things. I wouldn't have thought of it because that wasn't my experience. So as I've struggled and tried to figure out if I can keep this going, one of the things that I did was I got on YouTube and I watched way too many videos on women that are over 50 and are kind of navigating this new time in their life and how they're navigating it. And so many women talk about taking the time to be by themselves, to go out to eat by themselves, to go to the theater, to sit on the sofa with a nice cozy blanket and a good book. puzzles, which is something that I've shared that I've taken up. Taking long walks, doing solitary activities. And I'm going to be honest, it made me chuckle a bit because having a YouTube channel isn't any of those things. Going to a restaurant by yourself or a coffee shop by yourself with your camera, making sure your hair is brushed. And by the way, today I just ran my fingers through my hair because I'm not going to talk about something and then do the opposite. But I admit to you, I've spent a lot of time making sure the age spots were covered, making sure I put lipstick on, which the people that know me best know that lipstick is not in my daily regimen at all. I'm a moisturizer girl, a lot of sunscreen, and out the door. So I'm watching these women sharing their lives, and yes, appreciate their message, appreciate what they're doing. But having a YouTube channel doesn't fit with that at all. It's a production. Getting dressed, getting ready, preparing a script, putting together some B-roll. You know, it's funny, as I've traveled and taken my camera with me when I travel, whether it's a walk on the beach or it's a walk in New Orleans, you know, I always get the people that say, oh, I didn't watch this because you're not in your kitchen. And so it's limiting in a way. Do I take those comments seriously? I get it. I understand. It's kind of a security blanket. Here I am. You know the drill. But there are a lot of women that are putting a lot of effort into having YouTube channels that's taking away from everything they're telling you in their YouTube channel. And yes, I know that's not what I'm talking about on my channel, but you have to understand, or I hope you understand, that as I'm transitioning along with many of you into this new stage of life and starting to talk about things differently, spending more time by myself, doing more things on my own, traveling alone, going, like I said, going out for a cup of coffee alone. The other day I went and sat in a local pastry shop and I just grabbed a corner table and got myself a little treat and a cappuccino, and I sat there for an hour and a half. But filming that, sharing that is not doing that. It's not doing what I'm telling you I'm doing. It's a production. Editing is a production. Putting together a script is a production. No complaints. It just is what it is. And as I transition into this more solitary time in my life, and yes, I am married. I'm not alone 24/7. But for those of you who followed the channel for a long time, you know that my husband still works more than full time. And I actually travel a bit by myself and I do things by myself. I have a very close group of girlfriends who I consistently do different groups that I do different things with, but they're people in my life that I really, really enjoy. And so I didn't start this channel to tell anyone how to be a friend. I just wanted to acknowledge that as we get older, friendship is changing. And much to my surprise, I've learned that it is starting very young for women, very young. I was watching this docu-series the other day called The Crash. And then that led me, if you haven't seen it, I think it's on Netflix. Oh boy. That then Netflix or my streaming service triggered all of these other documentaries we think you'd be interested in. And one of them was Mean Girls and the crimes that ladies commit against other women. And I was, I don't want it to be, we're not talking about crime here, although I love true crime and I've shared that. But what we are talking about can sometimes make me feel bad and put me in kind of a funk. Because while I'm in a happy place, there comfortable place, a secure place. And I know many of you have found your why, and you're in a place now where you're owning who you are. You feel empowered. You've cut ties with people that drained you, that exhausted you, that treated you like CR exclamation P. You put your foot down and said, you know what? I may only have 25 years left on this planet or 30 years, whatever. I'm going to prioritize myself because I've never had the chance to do that before. I was a mom or a boss or a wife or an employer or an employee or a volunteer or a public servant, or maybe a combination of all of those or some of those. And now I have time for me. And how am I going to spend that time on me? So do I want to spend that time filming and editing? And I'll be honest, I don't try to be professional about it. All of you know that. There have been times where I flipped my camera because I thought I forgot what way my camera was pointing at the beginning of the video. I'm not doing it to be cinematically entertaining. I'm doing it to give information, to share information. But talking about friendship, talking about how women treat each other, talking about outgrowing people that have been in our life for a long time, talking about dealing with family members who are just unkind can be depressing. And sometimes I finish filming and post and I think, oh, I don't want people to think I'm that person because I'm not. But I'll be honest, there have been some odd interactions with people in the community that left me feeling awkward, uncomfortable. I want it to be a more uplifting conversation. Because I feel like I'm at my best right now and I'm empowered and free from a lot of the constraints that used to tie me down. Used to dictate everything that I did. So for many of us, we've lived 25, 35, 40 years of our lives, maybe longer, from the moment the alarm went off in the morning until the moment you laid your head down. It was one more load of wash, one more carpool, one more project, one more deadline, one more conversation, one more T crossed and I dotted, one more meal cooked. So many things that who cared about doing anything for yourself? And honestly, who cared about investing in friendships and relationships that would maybe stand the test of time? No. Our friends became just who we saw the most because of circumstances. The people we saw in the office every day, the people we volunteered with, the parents of our children's friends. Boy, how many of us got stuck in that rut? Went places, did things because all of your kids' friends' parents were doing it. Entertaining because you felt like you had to. Hosting because you felt like you had to. Showing up. Making a dish. Cupcakes for school. Cookies for school. I don't think they'll let you do that anymore, but they used to. So all of these demands, and we're finally to the place in our life where most of us can do for ourselves. And yes, some of us are already dealing with health concerns, and health is probably at this age the biggest single denominator about how you get to proceed, what your limitations are or aren't. I've got friends playing pickleball. I've had a knee replacement, so there is not going to be any pickleball in my future. Hiking. Well, yeah, again, I tore my rotator cuff. Well, There are things that, you're not going to see me playing tennis or pickleball or all the things I know I can't do, but there's so many things I can do. And so I'm enjoying, like many of you have shared, we're all looking for those things that we can enjoy. And some of them are solitary or more solitary than what we've been used to in the past. You wouldn't have caught a younger Laura doing a puzzle. Wouldn't have happened. Always liked them. I always liked them. But you wouldn't have caught me doing a puzzle. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy for it. And honestly, there was no place in my house that you could do a puzzle without a kid getting their sticky fingers on it or pieces. How many puzzles have I put together where a piece was missing? Oh, dear heaven. I want to paint. I'd like to give pottery a shot again. I did that many, many years ago before I got married, when I was a single woman. So where does YouTube fit into that? And, I don't know that it does. I think the only option for me is to put it aside and say, you know what? I had a good run of it. Like I said, I posted enough videos that you could watch one every day. And it is fun to look back on the original ones. I was scared to death in front of the camera. Oh my gosh. And take this journey as another wonderful journey that has gotten me to a place that's better than where I was before. And that's always what I've wished for all of you. So I think this is probably it. I think I've gotten to that fork in the road that I've talked about so many times, and I have to decide which way to go. And I give all those women and men on YouTube who are taking us along on their journey a whole lot of credit, because it's a whole lot of work. And maybe because I've been doing it now for a couple of years, I know how much editing they're doing, and their B-roll, and they're here and they're there, and they're taking you along with you. And gosh, that's a lot. But I want to travel. I want to jump in my car and go to New Orleans. I want to go to the beach. I want to take my dogs and go and do things and have new experiences. And I don't want to bring my camera along, because I want to do these things for myself. I love our community. There are so many of you I call the OGs that have never missed a video, that are always so supportive, not of me, but of the message. You lift other people up. Your comments are so well thought out, so intelligent, so full of wisdom. I feel like my biggest response, and I have responded to every single solitary comment, with the exception of some that I didn't think belonged on my channel. But I always respond so often with how glad I am that you are here, how grateful I am for your shared wisdom. And I hope that my videos have helped people to think a little more, prioritize themselves a little more. And I hope for the younger men and women who have happened to find this channel, I mean, YouTube doesn't do you any favors, I'll be honest. But for those who have, I hope you've learned something from some of my golden nuggets, but also from the comments from the men and women in this community that have been willing to share who they are, what they are. Well, I've got a lot to think about. I just looked at a list of topics moving forward, and I just I can't get excited. I want to be happy during this time of life. And sometimes sharing the past gives people the impression that that's how you see your future, or that's how you feel currently. Past is a past with me. And I've always been able to put things up on the shelf and say, you know what, not mine to deal with anymore. Well, I don't know that you'll see me next week. I guess we'll all know that this could be it. But thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my heart. Every time I walk in my kitchen now, all I think about is YouTube and all of you and how somebody started a little channel. I posted a bunch of my videos as private, and after about 6 months, I finally made them public. And I remember hitting 1,000 and then hitting 10,000 and 15,000 and 18,000 and growing. And yeah, in a perfect world, maybe I would have hit 20,000, but I love the community as it is. I never wanted it to be a huge community because I find when my videos get thrown out there on the algorithm, and it doesn't happen that often where YouTube decides to, gift me by showing a lot of people my video. Then you get people who aren't invested in the channel. They don't care. They don't know you from Adam. They'll always say, yeah, get to the point, get to the point. And I'm like, you know what? That was never what this channel was about. This was about building a community and trying to figure out as it got bigger and bigger, how to include all of us, even though each of us is coming at this time of our life from a very different place. And right now, I'm just not feeling like I have anything else to offer. But thank you all so much. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'll take a couple weeks off, or maybe this will be it. But I want to live what I'm preaching, so to speak. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Take care. Bye-bye.